Highlights here, dive 3 of 11 for China's Tan Lian De. You can really see his grace here. He won silver at the last 2 Olympics only because he was behind diving legend Greg Louganis. Louganis isn't around anymore, so the Chinese competitor hopes to win gold this time. Yesterday, world champion Kent Ferguson had trouble qualifying for the final, but he's been back to form today. This is his 4th dive, and he does remain in medal contention. But Ferguson is being upstaged at the moment by his American teammate Mark Lindsay, a former wrestler turned diver. This is Lindsay's 4th dive, and he is now within 4 points of first. Well, moving now to the 5th round, let's see how they're doing as we check in with Tom Hammond.
Thanks, Bob. We've reached the 5th of 11 rounds on the men's 3-meter springboard finals at the Montjuic swimming pool. And here are the standings after 4 rounds in the finals. Kielot of Germany is the leader. Tan Lian De of China, the favorite, is second. Mark Lindsay, the American, third. The other American diver, Kent Ferguson, the world champion, is 6th. And here is 29-year-old Kent Ferguson, originally born Cedar Rapids, Iowa, now lives in Florida, the world champion who admitted to a case of nerves yesterday in the preliminary competition.
He told me that he kept thinking of decathlete Dan O'Brien and how he didn't make it, and that just seemed to make his nerves even worse. What's the saying? That you resist persists, and Kent couldn't get into flow no matter how hard he tried yesterday. But today, there is no room for error. Today, he must be stellar. There is no room left for anything but brilliance from here on out if Kent Ferguson wants to medal. And that was a stroke of brilliance. That was a beautiful reverse 1.5 with 1.5 twist. Kent was a trampolinist earlier in his career, and that ability pays off on this dive right up over the board. Watch his entry into the water. It's the last thing the judges see. He is diving very consistently this afternoon. He's going to just have to continue to pound these dives and reprove himself to the judges. We still have a few rounds of diving left to go, and anything can happen, so it's possible.
Ferguson scores ranging from 7 to 8, and a total of 57 points as he tries to move up from 6th place. Here's 30-year-old Albin Kielot of Munich, Germany, diving well. He's the leader, appearing in his 3rd Olympics.
And he says this will be his last Olympics. He plans to retire after today's competition. He's got a front 1.5 with 1 twist, degree of difficulty 2.1. So well today. He's a 3-time European champion and quite a popular guy in Germany because of it. He has the same elegance and grace that Kent Ferguson does. Nice long legs, beautiful toe point, great entry. That's just what you want to do at the Olympic Games.
Kielot to finish 4th in Seoul, making a bid for a medal here in Barcelona with those good scores, 49.77. Here's American Mark Lindsay, the former high school wrestler who saw Greg Louganis win the gold medal at the '84 Olympics and decided to switch to diving.
This man is known for his determination. Having watched Greg in the '84 Olympics, he said, no, I want to be a diver, in spite of his father's wishes for him to continue wrestling. And here he is, just 8 years later, competing for the United States in the Olympic Games. Diving well today. He says he loves to compete, Mark Lindsay, and he is having a fantastic day today. This dive jumps way up over the board. He turns over, looks at the water. Watch the entry. Very good entry, and that's what the judges look for. Mark says that he feels like he is the acrobatic style of the American team, and he's looking forward to going into these final dives.
As his parents react, behind them that USA banner signed by citizens of Fredericksburg, Virginia, his hometown, to bring him good luck as he records 45 points on his 5th dive. Here's Tan Lian De of China, twice silver medalist behind the great Greg Louganis.
He was solid yesterday. He's been flawless so far in today's competition. And I'm sure he will continue to dominate this event. He has been relentless. He was second behind Greg Louganis in 1984 and 1988. He's the oldest member of the Chinese team, and I really think that he is here to bring some gold home 8 years later. Tan is so strong. You know, the Chinese train a tremendous amount of gymnastics, and you can really see it in their diving. They're so high off the diving board.
Anton Leon De recording 51.3 points as he ranges from 7.5 to 9 on his scores. And he will remain in second place. And here are the standings at the end of the compulsory dives in the finals, with Kielot of Germany continuing to lead. Tan is second, Lenzi third, and Ferguson now fourth. We'll be back with more diving after these messages. Welcome back to Barcelona, where the men's 3-meter springboard finals continue. American Mark Lenzi, winner of the U.S. Olympic trials, in contention for a medal here in Barcelona. Joined at the Olympic Games by his teammate, the 1991 world champion Kent Ferguson. American men have dominated the Olympic 3-meter springboard competition, winning the gold medal every year they've competed except 1972. Lenzi and Ferguson both have a chance to medal here in Barcelona, but there the similarities end. Kent Ferguson may be the more graceful of the two divers, Lenzi and Ferguson, but don't mistake his grit. He once dived with a separated shoulder, finished the competition.
But this dive, back 2.5 pike, is the beginning of the tougher dives. This is where the field of divers will separate. He did almost exactly what I saw him do yesterday in the prelims. I'm really a little bit surprised. You'll notice as he comes around in his second rotation, there's one and here's two. Watch his feet. They actually come apart, and the judges are sitting on that side of the pool. They will notice that, and they will deduct for his feet splitting. This is normally a very good dive for him, and this is where he got in trouble again yesterday. Look at the feet coming apart there. In the sport of diving, that's not something that you want to do, and this is where he got in trouble yesterday. I hope that this isn't a trend for him in this competition.
Well, just when he was starting to move up, he had been fourth. He gets scores ranging from 6 on up into the 7s, and that will hurt his chances to stay in medal contention. Albin Kielot, who works as a carpenter in Munich, is the leader after 5 dives.
And he's not going to give any points away, especially to Tan Leon De. He's got his best dive here. It's a front 1.5 with 3 twists. Beautiful, beautiful execution of that front triple twister. Albin has been very, very solid here in the finals. Look at how tight that twist is. And he has wonderful entries going into the water, and with those long legs and those nice pointed toes, the judges really have to give him a little extra on the bottom there. That was just a fantastic dive.
And the scores reflecting the excellence of that effort, ranging from 8 to 9, a total of over 73 points. Mark Lenzi very much in medal contention at the moment, in 3rd place.
He says his years of wrestling gave him that killer instinct, and it's during these optional rounds that he'll have a chance to attack. He's got an inward 2.5 in the pike position here. Degree of difficulty 3.0. He smoked this dive yesterday in the prelims. Wow, he is answering the challenge of Albin Kielot. Mark is not giving anything away today. He is so strong and so acrobatic, way up over the board, flat pike, great entry. And there's his folks. They know he hit that dive today. They know it.
The Indiana University grad getting scores of 8.5 and a couple of 9s, 77 total. Quick. So after 6 of the 11 rounds of the men's 3-meter springboard final, the leader remains Albin Kielot of Germany over Tan Leon De and Mark Lenzi. Kent Ferguson is now 5th.
I talked to Kent's father just before the finals today, and I asked him what happened to Kent yesterday, and his dad simply said he just let the pressure get to him. And I really felt badly because his father, John, there, you know, as a parent, you can do nothing to help your son in this competition. He said he really hurt for Kent because he had never seen Kent really just let it all get to him like he did yesterday.
His father, Dr. John Ferguson, a dentist in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. That's his mother, Joyce, to the left of her husband.
Kent really needs to hit this dive. It's a reverse 2.5 in the pike position. The same dive we'll see Ton Leanda do in just a minute. Oh, he has really lost his momentum. Again, I'm seeing him do things I've never seen him do before. You'll notice on the takeoff of this dive, he really looks like he's fine, but watch what happens right as he goes into the water. You'll see again his feet come apart. That is just, to me, a case of severe nerves, of not being able to contain yourself throughout the dive and focus on what it is that makes this dive work in the first place. He's lost his feet. The judges certainly will have seen that, and I'm going to be surprised if I don't see low marks here.
And you are right, low marks indeed. 4.5 ranging up to 6, and that'll drop Ferguson further down in the standings. Here's the leader, Albin Kielot of Germany. He's come back from a serious motorcycle accident in Munich. He was riding his motorcycle, rammed into an automobile, tore the tendons and ligaments in his left shoulder and in his right knee, had surgery, 7 months of rehabilitation, then won the bronze medal at the World Championships, bidding here for Olympic gold.
And he's never looked better. Inward 2.5 in the pike position, degree of difficulty 3.0. He missed that dive. I'm surprised because yesterday in the preliminary competition, he really nailed this dive. You'll notice on the bottom, his feet wash way over. If you could draw a vertical line on your screen, he's obviously flying past that vertical line. The judges are really going to hit him for that. I think the problem started just a little bit here on his takeoff. You see his head is down instead of being up and over the board. That dive is moving down and underneath the board. That's why the feet kick over on the bottom. This will certainly drop him in the standings.
Oh, very poor scores, 4.5 and 1.5. And that leaves the door wide open for Mark Lenzi of the United States.
Mark's got a back 2.5 in the pike position here, and he could really crank some points if he puts this dive into the water. He says he loves these optional rounds because he can spin and twist, which he knows is his attribute in diving. The pressure's on. And he was there. That dive moved away from the board a little bit and maybe washed over a little bit on the bottom, but that will, I would imagine, would bring him ahead of Albin Kielot in the standings. You'll notice here his feet flip over just a little bit. It throws up a little extra water. Mark is all business. He gets on that diving board. He doesn't sit around and wait to think about things. He gets it in the air, and as the divers say, he puts it on autopilot.
Good marks for Lenzi, 7.5 up to 8.5. And that will temporarily put him in first place and put the pressure on Ton Leanda, who now will have to match Lenzi's effort.
These top three seem to be giving this gold medal back and forth to each other. No one has taken this medal and said it's mine. It'd be interesting to see what Ton does here. It's a reverse 2.5 in the pike position. And he misses just a little bit on the bottom. I think some of this adrenaline may be getting to these divers. Ton is so strong. He's so high off the board. When he takes off right at the beginning, look that that's the 5-meter platform next to him in the background. He is above the 5-meter. He actually has to let go down at the water, but watch his feet flip over just a little bit there. Picks up some water. The divers call that a save. They're trying to save it on that vertical line instead of letting it slide by.
And the scores for Ton, 6.5 up to 7.5, and that's not enough to catch Mark Lenzi. And so Mark Lenzi snatches the lead after 7 rounds in the men's springboard final. Ton Leanda second. Sautin of the unified team takes over third as Kielot drops down. Ferguson is now 8th. And we'll have more diving in just a moment. Kent Ferguson has dropped all the way down to 8th place. Time is running out. That fashion model face, very expressive, and it doesn't look good.
He's got a face of distress on at this point in the competition. Although he put that dive in the water, this may pull him up in the ranks. You never know. The diving's a little erratic today. That was a much better job than what he did yesterday on this dive. Yesterday, he landed on the corner of the board and barely got off. Today, it's a much better dive right in the water. I'm sure he'll be much happier with that performance than what he remembers from yesterday's preliminary rounds.
Well, it's been an up and down afternoon for the University of Michigan grad, awaiting his scores on his 8th dive of the competition. And the scores, 7s for Kent Ferguson. Dimitri Sautin of the Unified team has surprisingly moved into 3rd place.
Dimitri's doing a forward 3.5 in the pike position. It's the same dive we just saw Kent Ferguson do. He has dived very consistently all day, but I noticed something on the bottom of that dive. He's in good position coming off the board here. Nice tight pike, but watch his legs twist as he starts entering the water. You'll actually see his calves turning toward the judges. It'll be interesting to note if the judges saw that, the normal rate of speed that he does this dive, and whether or not they hit him for it.
Sautin scores 6.5 up to 8, 64 total points. Here's Albin Kielot, who faltered on his last dive, dropping from 1st down to 4th.
The Germans haven't won a medal of any color since 1912, and it seems to me that Albin Kielot is here to break that trend and be the first German medalist in 80 years. But to do so, he's got to put his last 3 or 4 dives in the water, and he's got to do them very well. Front 3.5 in the pike position. Oh boy, he did almost exactly the same thing that Kent Ferguson did yesterday on this board.
That was a near belly flop.
He almost failed that dive. This is so unlike him. I've never seen him do something like this in competition before. Watch where he lands on the end of the board. He's in the far left corner there, and you can see his knees buckled. They gave out, and he couldn't get any spring off the board. It's very similar to when you bounce the trampoline. And you break your bounce on the trampoline. He just ran out of gas before he even started. Oh.
Have you ever seen a dive like that in Olympic competition?
Not from one of the leaders. This is really a turning point for Albin Kielot.
Here's Mark Lindsay, and let's go down to Wendy Leanne Williams for a report.
There was an AP Wire story that started a bit of a controversy here on the pool deck in Barcelona. The Chinese Olympic coach Xu Yiming said that his one regret about this Olympics is the absence of diving legend Greg Louganis. He said the Chinese like to compete against the very best. I went to Dick Kimball for a reaction. He said the Chinese are competing against the very best, and they will be hard-pressed as they face the American challenge. Back to you, Tom.
Well, Lindsay, the competitor, cocky, has often upset the somewhat genteel sport of diving.
I think he just walked through the door, certainly the door that was opened by Kielot's mistake. Mark did not do a great dive here, but certainly did a dive well enough to keep him right in the top hunt of things. You'll see that that dive flew by. It picked up a little bit of water on the bottom. Boy, there is some strange diving going on in these later rounds here during the finals.
Dick Kimball, his coach, looking on. Kimball said he thought his diver, Mark Lindsay, was the best. And he's making a bid to be recognized as the best.
Oh, man, it was so fast. Right when I went back, I was like, I even kept my head, and I should have put it back.
Todd Leonda next. See how he responds to this mounting pressure, which is obviously affecting the divers.
Well, I said it last round, and I'll say it again here. No one has claimed the gold medal thus far in this competition. Ton has an inward 2.5 in the pike position. He did not have to do this dive yesterday in the preliminaries because of the rules. This will be the first time we've seen him do this. This is a very simple dive for him because of his athletic and acrobatic abilities. He even missed a little bit. Normally, he just buries that dive going in the water. He missed just a little bit on the bottom. He went just a bit back past the vertical line just on the bottom of this dive. He's in good position right here. But as he comes out, watch his feet slide over. I'm just amazed. Ton is one of the most consistent divers. The pressure here has got to be affecting him to a certain degree, knowing that this is your last shot to go for the gold medal.
And his scores from 7 up to 8. That'll put him in second place after 8 dives as Mark Lindsay remains the leader. So new life for Kent Ferguson, who now is back up to 5th place.
You know, the divers say anything can happen in these later rounds of competition. And it certainly seems as if a lot has happened to this man, Kent Ferguson. He is 13 points from the bronze medal as he goes into this dive, and inward 2.5 in the pike position. It is very possible for him to move up in the standings. Wow. The drama continues to unfold here in the diving finals. Kent looks mad at himself. It was at this point yesterday in the prelims that he finally gained perspective that he and Mary Ellen Clark, his teammate who won the bronze on 10 meter, had talked about. Perspective is such a hard thing to get here, and on this dive it seems like he's gotten it.
And there's Mary Ellen watching Kent Ferguson dive. And she gives a whistle of approval. Can Kent win a bronze, as did Mary Ellen? Let's look at his scores for his 9th of 11 dives, and they're good ones. 7.5 to 8.5 for Kent Ferguson. He's back in the picture. Dmitry Saltin is in the medal chase, and wouldn't that be something, considering all he's been through?
Boy, last December, as the Soviet Communist Party was disintegrating, he got into an argument with the party's official son. It escalated into a fight. The other guy pulled a knife. And Dmitry was stabbed 4 times. Last December, this man almost bled to death. And here he is in August doing some great stuff at the Olympic Games. You can even see the scars there on his stomach. No one was ever prosecuted in that situation.
Saltin scores 6.5. and 7s. There's actually 1-6, which will be thrown out as the low score. So Saltin cracking a bit under the pressure. Mark Lindsay said after winning the U.S. Olympic trials, he was coming to Barcelona not for just a medal, not for second place, but to win. And as the others have shown signs of cracking under the stress, Mark has come on to take first place, and his dad, who resented his son's switch from wrestling to diving at the time, may see his young son go home with a gold medal around his neck. That banner behind them signed by the citizens of Fredericksburg, Virginia.
Wow, he is being tough today. Front 3.5 in the pike position. He knows he hit that dive. Look at the smile on his face. Right on the end of the board, way above the board. Great entry. He is being tough. His coach, Dick Kimball, he knows he hit it too. He knows that it's just a countdown. And his parents, they may know wrestling, but now they're converted to diving.
Bill's liking diving more and more, I think.
Woo, look at that.
Straight nines for Lindsay. He's the one to beat now for the gold. Tan Leon Duh, twice silver medalist. Most people thought he would win the gold this time.
Well, Mark Lindsay is here to say maybe not. Tan has got the exact same dive we just saw Lindsay drill. Front 3.5 in the pike position. look, that dive was not a 9. And the reason it wasn't a 9 is because it was slower than what Mark Lindsay did. The pressure is on this man. He is trying his gold medal boy, but look here. He's slow. He's trying to get to the water. You see that splash going back toward the board? That means the dive was slow and short. The judges know it too.
And the scores from Tan Leon De put him in second place behind Mark Lindsay. And after 9 dives, Kent Ferguson of the U.S. is inching back up. He is now in 4th place. 2 rounds to go for the gold. Welcome back to Barcelona, where Kent Ferguson is on the 3-meter springboard. He had fallen down to 8th place after 7 rounds. It looked like he was out of it. Now he's only 5.64 points behind a bronze medal.
And he's got to believe what he used to tell me in competition. He used to say, Michelle, it's not over till it's over. And we've got 2 rounds of dives left. And the way the diving has been this afternoon, erratic almost across the board. Anything is possible. He's got 2 good twisters left. This is a reverse 1.5 with 2.5 twists. Degree of difficulty 2.9. But again, he needs to put this dive in the water. Okay, he'll take that one, I'm sure of it. Had a little problem getting off the board, but he did a super job getting it in the water, which is all that matters at this point in Barcelona. He's a little slow getting off the board. You'll see his twist. He's a little wobbly in the middle right around his hips, but he takes it down and he puts it in. His trampoline ability comes into play here on these reverse twisters, which are his last 2 dives and his last hope for a medal.
And good scores, 7.5 up to 8.5, and that'll keep Ferguson right in contention for a medal. And his American teammate Mark Lindsay fighting for the gold. He'll be diving in a moment. Here's 18-year-old Dimitri Saltine in 3rd place.
This is the dive he missed in the preliminaries. He missed it for 5.5. It's his make or break dive. It's reverse 2.5 in the pike position. Oh, he made up for it for yesterday's mistake. That was a beautiful dive. He's a little rough on the end of the board here, but watch his pike, how flat it is. His legs are right on his head there, right in the water. That puts the pressure back again on Kent Ferguson. For an 18-year-old, he's doing awfully well at the Olympic Games.
He needs just under 64 total points to stay ahead of Ferguson, and he well exceeds that. He'll stay in 3rd place. Mark Lindsay played everything growing up. Finally decided wrestling was his sport, good enough to be offered college scholarships. Then he saw Greg Louganis and decided to become a diver. Could he win a gold medal in his first Olympics?
It is possible, Tom. Mark Lindsay and Tan Leon De are down to the battle of the twisters in this round. Both of them are doing very difficult twisting dives with high degree of difficulty. And he puts the pressure on Leon De from China. You know, Tan is sitting in such a hard position, and Mark is sitting in the best possible position. Mark is in the position of applying the pressure. All Mark has to do is do his dives, and then Tan has to stand up on the board and listen to the scores and listen to the crowd applause and then do his dive. So Mark Lindsay is diving for gold going into the last round of dives. And there's his folks. They know it too. They know their son is 1 dive away from a possible gold medal.
One more. Big gun. Frank.
And here's the man chasing Lindsay, Tan Leon De of China.
A very difficult position to be in, especially for this dive. This is a front 2.5 with 2 twists. This is Tan's hardest dive of his list. To a large extent, his list hinges on this dive. This is what is considered his make or his break dive, and he has got to respond to the pressure now. Again, he left it short. Very similar to what he did the last round of dives. I think he might be so adrenalized that he's actually holding himself back, worried that he might actually fly over on these dives. I'm surprised. Super dive right here. Everything's fine. He just doesn't get to the vertical line, and there's really not a lot of reason why he doesn't. The pressure seems to have gotten to him, which is really surprising because he's probably the most westernized of all the Chinese divers. He laughs, he smiles, but at this point, oh boy, at this point he is not smiling.
Very poor scores. He'll stay in second place. He was born on the 4th of July. Don't you think Mark Lenzi would like to see the Stars and Stripes fly in Barcelona? One dive to go. It's been an uphill struggle for Kent Ferguson, but he's in 4th place. His final dive could net him a medal.
All of the years of practice, all of the sacrifice boils down to one dive in the Olympic Games. Reverse 1.5 with 3.5 twists. He is going for the bronze medal on this dive.
He's 10 points behind Sautin for 3rd.
Sautin has the exact same dive as Kent Ferguson. At this point, Kent needs to make up a little bit of ground here, which is very possible on this dive for Kent. The crowd seems to be reacting. They know excitement is in the air and the medals are just moments away. And Kent can't even get off the diving board here. The audience has been told to be quiet so that Kent can perform his dive. Okay, it's reverse 1.5 with 3.5 twists. He's going for the bronze. I don't know if that is going to be enough. We will have to wait and see if Sautin reacts to that, if he lives up to what he is capable of doing. Kent Ferguson did not finish strongly. As he comes off the board, he misses the board here a little bit. You'll see he's running out of room. He just can't quite get there, and he picks up a lot of splash. I wonder if the delay had any effect on Kent Ferguson going into that dive.
The scores ranging from 6.5 to 7.5, and now all Ferguson can do is watch the other divers and hope they make a mistake and open the door for a medal. And here is Michael Murphy of Australia with a chance for the bronze.
Michael needs 7s or 73.38 to pass Ferguson in the final standings. He's doing the same dive we saw Kent Ferguson do, reverse 1.5 with 3.5 twists. I believe he will pass Kent Ferguson on that dive. Michael Murphy is a trampolinist, and his style is reflective of that trampolining. He needs 7s to pass Kent Ferguson for the bronze medal.
Total points needed 73.38, and that eliminates the reigning world champion, America's Kent Ferguson, from a medal. Dimitri Sautin trying to hold on to 3rd and claim a bronze medal. Final dive.
Another big twister, reverse 1.5, 3.5 twists. These divers are putting these dives in when it counts in this final round. This is their final bid to go for these medals. There is no second chance at this point. Way up in the air, nice tight twist. At this point, it's a matter of half points with the judges. It's whether he gets a 7 or a 7.5, which makes the difference in the final analysis and the final mathematical calculation. We'll just have to wait and see what his scores become.
A little dip in the sauna for the 18-year-old. And as he looks up, he sees that he will stay in 3rd as his scores range from 7.5 to 8.5. Mark Lenzi went against his father's wishes when he switched from wrestling to diving, and now he looks to his dad, Bill, who gave him that clenched fist, that sign go for the gold on your final dive at the Olympic Games.
Mark Lindsay is literally capable of 10s on this dive. 1 year ago, he received perfect 10s on this dive we will see momentarily. It's a reverse 3.5 in the tuck position. It is the hardest dive being done on men's 3-meter in world competition today. It is very simply his bid for Olympic gold. It all comes down to reverse 3.5. Mark giving a high thumb, a high sign to his parents in the audience. He's got to be pleased with himself and his performance today. It's a little bit back on the end of the board here, but look how high and how fast he's spinning. A little bit of adrenaline got to him on the bottom. He flipped over just a little bit too much for the 10s. Let's see what the judges give him at this point. Anticipation.
And those scores mean Mark Lindsay wins the gold medal. No matter what Ton does on his final dive, he can't catch Lindsay.
Even with straight 10s on this dive, there is no way he can defeat Mark Lindsay. It is numerically impossible for Leonda to actually take the gold here. If he hits this dive, he will settle for his 3rd consecutive Olympic silver medal. A tremendous finish to a long and fruitful career, but for the 3rd time, Tan Leonda of China will receive the silver medal in Olympic competition. Mark Lindsay, this man, is America's gold medal boy.
So America continues its dominance of the men's Olympic 3-meter springboard competition thanks to 24-year-old Mark Lindsay. For the 3rd consecutive time, Tan Leonda of China takes the silver, and from the unified team, Dimitri Sautin, the bronze. America's Kent Ferguson wound up 5th.
And what a moment. His original coach, Hobie Billingsley, discovered him just as a kid in high school in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and his coach presently, Dick Kimball.
Michelle Lindsay took the lead about midway through the finals, but what cemented it for him?
This dive, front 3.5 in the pike position. He received straight 9s on this dive, and watch the entry, you'll see why. Nearly flawless forward 3.5. Mark says his strength is his acrobatic ability, and he loves to show the world what a great spinner he is on a front 3.5 in the pike position.
Now let's go to Wendy Leanne Williams with the gold medal winner.
Mark, you provided so much excitement here today. You've got to be thrilled.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. I just tried to do everything that I normally do in practice, and everything came out great. And I'm dedicating this to my grandmother, who passed away in January, because she always bragged about me and never got a chance to come watch me. So that's for her.
Congratulations on a spectacular performance.
Thanks, Wendy.
And so perhaps America has found a new diving star in the tradition of Greg Louganis. His name, Mark Lindsay.